出動 Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 44 of LostinTranslationmon. I'd like to apologise because this is actually our second recording of this episode. Unfortunately, something strange happened when we were recording with Audacity, and because we were recording in person, and it kept on skipping over fragments. I thought I could maybe edit it out, but I realised that it was just throughout the whole recording, so we've decided to record it again.
Yeah, we made the judgment call that no one wants to listen to a show in which a sentence starts and halfway through it the next sentence begins.
Yeah, like the first 5 minutes were okay, so I thought maybe it's just only this part, but it was just continuing, and it seemed every sentence was cut halfway through and would start 3/4 of the way through another sentence. Like, the topics would just change, and it was just not good.
It was excellent, actually. Obviously, that's what we should have released.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was thinking, it's obviously been released to our $10 plus patron supporters. Should we just release it to $5 plus as a little apology?
Well, apology for what?
Apology for Audacity, yeah. But I'll be releasing it to $5 plus patrons. So if you are a $5 plus Patreon supporter, do you want to listen to the first recording of this? You can see what I mean.
Get ready for a good episode done in a manner that makes it the worst recording we've ever done.
Yeah. So I think that it was actually a really good recording. Actually, besides the fact we had a fan in the background. Which was
Could
also...
you hear it?
Yes, that was another point. It sounded like we had a really old computer. And it was just people are just going to judge our technology, but it's just because it was really hot last night. So we won't have that because it's cooler now. So yeah, just so we've, in this re-recording, we have decided that it would be also a better idea to, while we discuss the episodes, to discuss them as one episode instead of two separate episodes. Because it is one episode together. So that's something else that's going to be different in this recording. So we're going to hopefully improve on what we noticed in our original recording of episode 44. And if you really want to listen to it, you can. If you just sign up for Patreon, I guess. But you're not missing out on much if you don't. It's if the skipping's really annoying. And I was like, maybe I can edit it. No.
Get ready for horrible disappointment.
So yeah, apologies in advance if our reactions aren't as genuine because we have already discussed this before. Our reaction should be fine though. We can probably talk up enough. So this week we watched The Insect Master's Trap.
Or The Insect Master's Trap.
I think the insect, just calling it the same title, is possibly a literal translation because I have seen different alternative translations to this. I've seen The Bug Master's Trap or The Insect Charmer's Trap.
The Insect Charmer's Trap, yeah.
So it's always it's to do with the fact that I get these translations that I say at the start and end of every episode where and I get them from Digimon Wikia, and all of their translations are very literal. So some of them sometimes you miss a joke because it's too literal. And something gets lost in Translationmon. It's the title of the show.
I just get mine from the whatever subtitles are actually on the show I'm watching.
And the ones in the subtitles are usually better. For example, the second episode that we watched, which is Arachnimon, Miss of the Spider-Woman. I had no idea what this episode title was when I first read it because I thought Miss as in a young lady.
Yeah, but my translation says the Spider-Woman's mistake.
Yeah.
So basically that the miss is throwing something and missing.
Though I looked it up and it's actually a reference to a book, I believe, called Kiss of the Spider-Woman.
That's weird because that's the Japanese one.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really that rhyme only works once you've translated it literally.
Yeah. So
or Arukenimon's Tangled Web.
And we'll talk about that in Obnoxious Synopsis. The first episode that we're watching this week is called The Insect Master Trap, and this is in both versions. What do you think will happen in this episode?
So the Insect Master is an interesting thing to call somebody.
Uh-huh.
My first guess would be Ken, because he's actually got an insect Digimon. But if someone's laying a trap, well, the bad guy's a spider, and I wouldn't put it past the Digimon writers to not know that arachnids are not insects. So it's probably Arukenimon again, and they have some kind of trap. Now, most of the time I'd have two 2 titles to work from. Today I don't.
What do you do? They're just the same.
No, that's the thing. Like, it's the one title. This is very rare. I would struggle to give you more than that, but I would hazard a guess that it has something to do with the Dark Tower that's been turned into a Digimon.
That's how all the episodes are. You're gonna like guess about what Digimon is gonna be turned into.
Every single one of them has been Digimon I've never seen before.
We have been getting new Digimon in this arc.
Yeah, every Dark Tower Digimon is completely new. There's not a chance I could guess. Unless I'm
Yeah.
going with Earthballmon, right? Like,
Earthborn, yeah. Well, yeah, so I didn't
that
realize
said-
that, but the Dark Ring Digimon were all Digimon they've seen before because it gave them TK and Kari use of saying, "Oh, don't worry, we've met that Digimon before. They're a good Digimon."
Yeah, I have a problem with Thunderballmon here actually, because if it weren't for him, I could guess a theme. Because Minotaur and Golem, you could go, okay, like a mythology kind of theme going on.
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting like a Medusamon at some stage, which I presume exists. It's just a snake probably. But because of Thunderballmon, especially because it's the first one, I can't assume that that's actually what they're doing, and I think that might have just been coincidence.
Well, also the other one was a Kuwamon who was.
Oh
an
yeah,
insect.
I totally forgot. Also, that one was made out of like several, which is weird because
That's because it was a perfect level.
I know, but like, why would more towers make it stronger? That's just like using more bricks. The bricks don't get stronger when you put more of them together. There's just more of them.
I think it's just using their power
I
as
guess,
well.
assuming that they are a power source, whereas I was assumed that the Dark Digivice was their power source. But I'm allowed to be wrong about that. I recognize that, usually.
So do you think we'll get any new evolutions?
Let's see. We're on the Jogress train at the moment, but I don't think. I mean, it's an old standby now, which has been proven wrong enough times. It's not the safest thing to do, but I'm still erring on the side that if it doesn't say a Digimon's name, it's probably not going to get introduced because like they did say Paildramon in the name of it. You just wouldn't tell me.
Oh, no, I did. I just said in Japanese.
No, but I mean, it's like, but you kept it away from me, and so it did exist. I don't, and I think Jogress being okay, fine. They skipped over Ken's regular evolution because we've seen them all before, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. I don't think that's skip a Jogress. It's just too important for the show. It's their new thing. It's their thing.
They skipped over the armor evolution names sometimes.
Maybe that's true.
And definitely with TK and Kari.
Oh yeah, 'cause they did in the same episode. I don't know. I think I maintain that I think they'd put more emphasis on it. That's just the feeling I have.
Right. So who do you think this episode will be centered on?
It's just called The Trap. Like that's I think God, that's a really difficult question to be honest with you. I almost feel like the answer is Arukenimon. Like the trap will go on and you'll kind of figure out what their deal is to an extent. Because it'll give them time to monologue like a crazy villain is meant to. That's the feeling I get.
Do you think Arukenimon's working alone, or do you think they have a partner?
I do kind of feel like you've got a smaller version of not a smaller version of just a slightly different version of the Dark Master situation going on. She just doesn't feel like a solo villain.
Right, so you think she's like one of a big group or one of a small group?
Like one of 3 maybe.
And these are like the new bad guys for this arc?
Well, she's new and she's a bad guy, so yes.
Do you think that this is her true form, or do you think that she has another form?
She definitely has another form, which is like a big spider, because that's gonna be in Japanese anyway. Oh, she's a Digimon. We didn't know.
And what do you think do you think it'll be in this episode or the next episode, where we see what she looks like?
I think that I don't think it'll be this episode. You know what? With the name of this episode, it could be. That could be the trap. That surprise. She was actually Digimon the whole time, and then she beats everyone. That could be really interesting. I don't think it's that, but I definitely think it's a possibility. So it's not the side I'm leaning towards, but it's one I recognize as legitimate. I'm gonna say no, not this one, and then I'm gonna be happy if I'm wrong.
And what level do you think she is?
If she's not Mega, then she's garbage, right? Like, what's even the point of having a big bad guy if you already have dudes stronger than them?
Well, Myotismon was only a perfect, and everyone else had perfect.
Was around. Oh yeah, but I asked questions about that, and I thought it was stupid at the time.
Right.
Like, to be totally fair, I did think that was dumb.
And what about the other Digimon in her group? What do you think they look like? And do you think they're Digimon, or do you think they're people?
Okay, look, last time we had a puppet, a jester, and 2 robots. There's not a chance I could possibly guess.
Right.
I'm not even gonna try until I even see vaguely more evidence.
Do you think that this will be a good episode?
It depends how good this trap is, honestly. And I'm putting a lot of faith in the writers to make it good because of this new bad guy. If this trap sucks, then this villain sucks, and we've got another Myotismon on our hands. So I'm gonna go with yes through necessity alone.
Right. And what do you think you'll rate it?
8.
Wow, really? So that's
Again,
quite optimistic.
necessity. If it's not that it's going to be a 2,
Oh
right?
god.
There is no middle ground with this episode, I don't think.
So you would say it's going to be a pretty good episode, or it's going to be just the worst episode you've ever seen?
Not ever seen. There's a lot of bad stuff in this show.
Aww. The next episode is called Arukenimon's Tangled Web, or Arachnimon Miss Spider-Woman.
Okay, well, this is the one where she transforms. There it is. Like, okay, so I know I waffled a bit. If you had told me this, Slash, have you
Oh, I
mentioned it at
did.
the end of the last show?
Yes, I did. At the end of the last show.
I wasn't paying attention. So,
You were too busy playing with the Guttermon toy.
great. So anything I said about her transforming last episode is wrong. Please take that as my prediction. She does it in this episode, and everyone's going to be nice and surprised.
Well, I actually wrote we could see her real form in the next episode. So you were right. You were right.
Okay, great. Always happy to be correct.
Unless you're wrong, and she actually does show up in the last episode.
I would be
previous
surprised. I
episode.
would be quite surprised, and
So
not
who do you-
pleasantly surprised either.
Who do you think is the focus of this episode?
So can you say the names again? It's just her name, isn't it?
Arukenimon's Tangled Web, Arachnimon, Miss Spider-Woman.
Okay, Tangled Web, I think means maybe this. Well, she has an opportunity to monologue in both, but her primary connection is Ken, and I think that there's a lot of. I know he's still kind of been on the edges of everything, and we still need to get him really integrated into the group. So, and that's where her primary connection is. So I think that we can spend more time with him still.
Right. So you think this will be like his formally joining the group episode?
Yes, that seems likely. It's about time.
So you don't think there'll be any other evolutions because of your theory in this episode?
I could see one right at the end, but I couldn't imagine who it would be.
Or like how the Paildramon episode actually had Paildramon in the episode before at the end?
I could see it being very similar in that, like, she shows she's a Digimon, she almost kills everyone, and then right at the end, somebody evolved to save the day, and then next episode, they'll get, like, their actual analyzer to introduce them. Much like when Golden Magnmon showed up, and it was right at the end. It's like, surprise, next episode.
Right.
So
would you like to guess who it is? Do you think it'll be a Jogress?
Yes, it would be weird for it to be anything else, because that's all there's left. No, there isn't. There's Mega Evolutions, I guess, but I don't think that's where we're going with this, because they don't have tags,
You don't need Crest to become Mega.
Yes, you do.
You're thinking of Perfect.
Well, that is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
You're right.
but Paildramon is a perfect level Digimon, and he's not made through a Crest.
No, because he's Jogress dead, which is what they're doing, because they don't have Crest.
Right. So, would you like to guess who you think it would be?
Shot in the dark, we're looking at the other new kids, Iori and Yoli.
Right, so you think that they're Jogress partner?
Yeah, that makes sense. They've known each other all their lives. They know each other well enough.
Not all their lives.
I thought they were like family friends.
I think but this one actually said how long they've known each other for.
Anyway, they've known each other for a long time, and like they're the next closest in the group besides TK and Kari, who are always last because they're the old kids.
Right, so you think that the TK and Kari are also a pair?
Yes.
Right, and what do you think Iori and Miyako's Digimon become?
You're crossing an armadillo and a bird. That's confusing. Actually, no, it's a whatever dinosaur and like griffin looking thing. I guess the dinosaur probably stands up, becomes a bit more like dude-like, and gets like wings.
Right, it's like a pterodactyl, or?
No, that would be a lot more bird-like. I don't want to think of it like just nailing wings to what's its name's back, Hammertail's back.
And Kilomon?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, isn't that what Jogress basically is?
Basically, yeah. But I mean,
Paildramon's easily just XVmon stick on Steamon's armor.
It's XVmon armor digivolving is what you.
Yeah, with the Digi-Egg of Steamon.
Yeah. I can't really imagine how the artist takes that because the XVmon Steamon was so direct. It was like there's almost no room for imagination except for the face, in which it became a royal knight. Apparently, from what I know.
That Paildramon's not a royal knight.
But Paildramon is a royal knight. Yeah.
Paildramon's not.
There is no royal knight that is a Paildramon?
No, there is not a Paildramon royal knight.
Okay, because it looks like one.
That's because it's like a big, strong man.
What?
It's like a big, strong, like, bulky dude.
No, it has like a knight face.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you put it next to Omnimon, they're the same dude in different colors with real arms.
My favorite royal knight will always be Crusadermon. Big pink thing with the ambiguous gender. It's my favorite.
Oh, keep it in mind for when we see them in season 7. I think it's 5, you actually mentioned.
Maybe sooner, maybe later. Eventually, I'll send you a photo. They're also called Lord Nightmon in the original. I sent you a picture of my child.
Lord Nightmon. Oh, that's cool. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah,
it's like Roll from Mega Man.
I'm still not 100% of what their gender is because it changes and it's different boyfriend's appearances, and also...
Like Gatomon? Just randomly changes depending on what language you're in?
No, I mean, like, in Japanese it's been a man and a woman, and then in English it's been mainly a woman because I don't think they understand why a man would wear pink. But, yeah, precious.
Okay, I think we can get on to the show.
I do think this episode will be good.
Yes, I'm going to give it a vote of confidence. I might regret it. Give it a solid 7.5, and we'll see if I regret that.
So you think these are going to be some pretty solid episodes?
I do, and
Right.
that optimism is going to punish me, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon then. Right, over to the show. So for Diginews, well, everyone probably knows this by now, but Digimon Adventure Try Chapter 2 is on Crunchyroll.
Just like the other chapter.
So I haven't watched that yet. I was going to if I had this episode. We didn't have to re-record today. But yeah, so I will be watching this, and Jay won't be covering it because of spoilers. But we will have 2 special guests, and it's a top secret that no one knows except for the guests, myself and Jay.
It would be weird if the guests didn't know.
No, I'm just like conscripting them. I'm just gonna call them and say, "Hey guys, surprise! Guess what?"
Kick down their door.
Yeah.
And just shove a microphone in their face. And like,
Well, here's a hint. I can't kick down their door because I don't live on this continent.
I thought you could say because this door is really strong and your legs aren't that strong.
No, I'm very strong. I'm incredibly strong. Next bit of Diginews was the Agumon PC cushion, which was released, which of course well, it's not released, it was announced, so I've already pre-ordered that. Its releases in June, and...
That is a moment where we had a very genuine reaction on the original
we had an
show.
extremely genuine reaction to that.
And sadly, we can't do that again.
So
and it was that I was going to get this for May for her birthday, and she had already pre-ordered it yesterday.
Yeah, so that was something that you are missing out on, which was Jay saying, "Oh my god, thank god I didn't buy it." We have quite a bit of Diginews. The next part is that there's a new update to Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth, and while this time it's not a mission pack, since we've already had 4 of those, we actually get new Digimon. And we get some burst modes, we get Valkyriemon, we get Chaosmon, we get Darkdramon. Also, in our first recording, Jay and I decided that he would have a Leomon that doesn't die, and I would have an Airdramon. And by we decided, I mean me decided.
Yeah, I had no chance about that.
Jay had no input. So
do I ever?
No, never. I basically dragged him out of bed, said we have to re-record, and he was like, "No, I want to sleep." And I
still want to sleep.
So please appreciate Jay, because he gets to not only be record once but twice. But yeah, so we decided that because Airdramon evolves into Darkdramon, well, through Gigadramon, and Leomon becomes Bancho Leomon, they jogger us to become Chaosmon, who we are also lacking another genuine reaction, which is Ultimate Chaosmon.
It's so cool.
And yeah, so that's the thing. Last bit of Diginews is that the Paildramon D3 Digivice version 15th has now been, pre-orders have opened, so that's something else that I pre-ordered.
And May, like a crazy person, hasn't bought 2 of them, as you're clearly meant to.
Yeah, we had a 10-minute discussion on why I should have bought 2 of them, and I was just like, Jay, you're a bad influence on me. But I only bought 1, because they are limited, they're only going to be 3,000 released. And while the previous version 15th D3 was released 3,000 each, and there were 2, this one only has 1. So if you want one,
there's 1,500 of them because they're basically sets of 2. You should, because you're DNA digivolving, they has to have 2 of them around. Otherwise, what the hell's the point?
Oh, you're stressing me out. But yeah, so that's exciting. That releases in July. Postmon Pat, Postmon Pat, Postmon Pat, and it's Tailmon Cat. Yes, I wanted that so much from the first... We're going to keep on referencing the first recording, aren't we?
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah. And
can you just check the time quickly?
Yeah, I'm very nervous as well. I make it a bit, 8 minutes and 30 almost.
Yeah, 8:20, that's
Yep,
fine.
okay, that's accurate. Maybe it's a good idea to check, every segment. Yep.
Time to panic.
Why?
So always. It's always time to panic.
No, don't make... I already panicked enough. It's okay. I'm done panicking.
You panicked really hard.
I panicked super hard. I didn't even eat waffles because I wasn't hungry. That was... Yeah.
And waffles are your favourite thing in the world.
Yeah, so I have waffles every Saturday, and I didn't have waffles today because I was too busy panicking. Because I was like, it's not working.
To be completely honest, I was on the side of just not recording this week because we're doing the Try special anyway.
Well, I am. You're not.
No, but like we're releasing content this week.
Yeah.
But no, May has insisted, like all weeks, if we have additional content, it's just double content.
Yeah. Sorry, Jay.
But I'm here.
Yeah, it's sounding good, I hope. Hopefully it's sounding good. Listeners, hope it's sounding... I'm doing thumbs up again.
Constantly.
I keep on... So I have a problem when I do thumbs up to the microphone, because for some reason I think that the microphone and, of course, all the listeners can see my thumbs up. So just imagine that I'm just doing this podcast, just thumbs up on all the time. Our first Postmon Pat entry message thingy is from John Summers on Gmail, and he says, I liked the episodes you discussed last episode, but there are elements of them that feel forced or show lack of foresight for characters. Like how Angemon's nerfing doesn't make sense. And has this been stated before? Why aren't Angemon's attacks against evil Dark Tower Digimon strong because they are evil? This is flawed. So we had quite a few messages about this, so I guess I'll just address it now and we just won't read it from other people. Like, basically everybody mentioned this. I think it's actually a fine excuse because, one, he's still fighting against a perfect, so I think it's not so much he is weak, is that he's just not strong against it. Previously we'd seen, him one-hit Devimon and pretty much handicap Myotismon, but that's also because they are Nightmare Soldier Digimon and they are also Virus Digimon. So he has that, double type advantage.
Yeah, it's... I get the sense that the evil nature of the Dark Towers doesn't necessarily inform the type of Digimon they turn into.
Yeah.
So that type effectiveness Pokemon Rock, Paper, Scissors doesn't really apply.
Yeah. And so I think that it's not necessarily flawed. I just think that no one's really thought about it before, and we haven't really seen Angemon come up against any perfect who weren't evil. John Summers goes on to also say something else that a few other of our messages say, and it's that the explanation of why the original children can't get past adult is lazy and makes them look stupid. They're the digital world's only protectors and makes them weaker by giving up their crests when they don't know if this is just a temporary solution. I think so as I said, we have a lot of messages that say the same thing, so I'll address it mainly now. And I think they were just being optimists, like they were saying, oh, nothing dark will ever come back. And I think they used it as a last resort, like we have to do this or else, something catastrophic will happen to the world.
Yeah, but that's it is lazy, because it sort of came out of nowhere. It felt like, it was one of those things where the writers get halfway through the season and then people start asking questions in the office, like, why aren't the perfects coming back? And they go, oh, we didn't mention it. Oh, no. And then they throw together, a 30-second piece of animation to explain it. I understand from a story perspective of why they did put them away. But the kids do look stupid because evil came back. So it was pointless. I think it
would have been a better explanation if it was done in the first episode. They suggest, Patamon, you can probably evolve further. And he says, no, I can't. I can't. One, I can't get to Angemon because of these Dark Towers, but then I can't get to Perfect because of insert explanation here.
I think they should have covered this in Hurricane Touchdown, to be honest with you.
But that's still halfway through. Maybe our war game? Oh, no, it was because it happened after our war game.
So, I think it's fine if it doesn't... I would prefer it get mentioned in passing, I can't, but then they don't say why. As long as you kind of get at some stage, they give you a full, real explanation.
Yeah, because it was just not brought up.
Yeah, and then when it was 30 seconds, Jen and I said it was necessary, goodbye.
Yeah, so it might have been better if, they at least said, oh, we can't evolve to perfect, we'll explain later, and then we got an explanation, because this feels like, as you said, someone sort of said, hey, why can't they do this? And they said, oh, okay.
You want to realize they haven't explained yet?
What?
Where's Genai?
Well, maybe.
Why hasn't he talked to the new kids?
Because no one likes the new kids.
I know, but Genai's an important mentor figure.
Because there hasn't been a prophecy yet, except for the one that Wizardmon delivers.
So you mean
which is actually a good prophecy?
It's not that there hasn't been a prophecy yet. There hasn't been the results of a prophecy that he can come in and claim Nostradamus style.
Also, I'm not saying whether Genai shows up or not. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. We don't know. We're not up to that. But we're not done with the season. John Summers finishes and says, why didn't the digital world form an army of strong Digimon so they don't need to rely on the children? Because Digimon aren't bright.
Yeah, basically, the way I justified it originally was that Digimon are essentially computer programs, and they only really get agency when there's kids around, and otherwise they just act according to their nature, which is just building into groups, or being evil, or being rhinoceri in the savannah, whatever it is.
And I think they're, and as I said before, they're just optimistic. Like, no, nothing evil's going to come. And they're just, I guess, it's obviously to a fault that they are just too optimistic. And so, oh, evil's gone now, we can live happily, and the evil has become this happy frog.
The evil is defeated.
That's the best part of that movie.
It's not true. That is not, like, it's a good part.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
The next Gmail is from SP, and he says that he feels that the only reason Angemon devolved quickly was so it didn't overshadow Daisuke and Ken, so they could be the main characters. And SP also doesn't think the excuse makes sense, but see above for explanation of why I personally think that it makes sense. Do you think it makes sense?
Which part?
That the Angemon type advantage part.
Yeah, it makes enough sense. Like, I mean, it's a bit stupid to begin with.
Yeah.
That Angemon feels like a, I don't know how to put it. I guess I'd call him a can opener. He's only very effective in very particular situations. But in the situations he's effective in, he's the best.
Yeah, I don't think he's weak against insects. I just think that he's not strong and can't overpower a perfect, and obviously a perfect is stronger than adult.
But I do feel like he's less effective than everyone else. Which is kind of why, which I think is why he and Gardemon's armor evolution have to like work together for their actually kind of strong attack.
Yeah, that's actually silly though. That the only strong attack that they do is something together. I think that they are also considered to be maybe weaker than the other children.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because Tailmon is probably the weakest in this season.
I would say that TK and Kari are barely like part of the group, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything recently that they've done, or like an episode that's focused on them.
Besides his master's voice, but that was a while ago now.
Yeah, you know what? No, TK punching Ken in the face was cool, but I don't know. I don't feel like that was uniquely TK's thing.
I feel like they've forgotten about Kari, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Besides that one episode, she has not had that much of a focus. TK had a focus. Kari, not so. I mean, she helped in the part 2 of the episode that we watched this week.
The problem with them is that, like, there weren't enough Digi-Eggs. And they only have one. Everyone else has multiple, except even Ken, but Ken, was the bad guy of the whole series up until this point.
Yeah.
And when they did get them, they got them because it was always their thing. It wasn't a big special reveal moment. What does LiT mean?
SP says that the crest explanation is weird, and that if the crests are the children's attributes, wouldn't that just mean that the children's attributes are reversed? Like we would get cowardly Taichi.
Well, no, we established at the end of season 1 that everyone embodied all of the attributes. Like, everyone just has them, and the fact that they were focused just meant that that person established them primarily. But at the same time, they're giving up, like, the physical object that like, the lens that allows the evolution. They don't give up their personality.
Yeah, it's the power, not so much the attribute.
Yeah.
SP says that they really like Jogress and Paildramon, even though there's no momentum or build-up to his evolution. And, I can see that, because it kind of just jumps from, okay, we've got Hawkmon to Aquilamon, we've got all the adults now. Oh, next episode, new evolution to sort of...
To be totally fair, if you're going to commit to armor evolution, and Jogress is really weird and doesn't really have rules, you didn't have to give them adult evolutions. You could have just had 3 episodes of, like, Ken going on his Digi-Egg quest, and then at the end of that Jogress, Flamedramon and Stingmon would be an armor evolution. He's got armor on, it's fine.
Yeah.
You just Jogress those guys, it would end up being exactly the same. And that way you could have put some momentum into the story, but you took and decided 3 filler episodes instead. And then this happened. And okay, I mean, Jogress is cool, but yeah, it's not well positioned.
Yeah. I like Jogress, and it also... I like seeing the relationships of the kids develop. SP asks a question for you, Jay. And they say, can Jay guess Arukenimon's big plan if she has one?
Well, she uses words like she wants to destroy the digital world because that's her nature. But I'm not really sure that's the case. I think that your common theme of bad guys is to control the digital world. And unlike the real world, that is a legitimate goal. That is a totally fair thing to want to do. Because, let's be real, if you have any kind of amount of power in this world, i.e. like the Dark Masters, you're just going to do it. You're just going to have control and it's going to be fine until kids show up. Which means that really, it doesn't matter what the Dark Towers do. If you kill the kids, you'll probably just win. I just want to establish that in advance.
Yep. The next email is from, I believe, a new listener called Adam. And he says...
Who we think is also Cloudmaster 101.
Yeah, well, that's because that's the only new review that I have on the iTunes UK store. So Adam says, I just gave a review on the UK iTunes store, which I will read shortly. Really enjoying the podcast, and I've been listening to this episode, the podcast, multiple times at work. Adam says, poor Daisuke, I'm yet to know of someone who genuinely likes him, and I always saw him the way I saw Sailor Moon. Carefree, bold, loudmouthed, and dumb. Which apparently in Japan must make for a great leader. They both seem to be the leader for no reason and no merit of their own, and they get powers and abilities which are stronger than the other characters.
I never actually understood why Sailor Moon would be the leader. She's the only one who's not a planet.
Yeah.
She's actually the weakest one. Wouldn't she be Sailor Earth?
I thought, wasn't Pluto, a big leader character? Because she was, the eldest?
There was a Sailor Pluto.
Yeah, and she was,
But at the time Pluto was a planet.
Yeah, and she was also the tallest and the eldest, and I think, she was... I don't know, I can't remember, but I know Uranus was the best.
There was also a Sailor Mini-Moon.
Yeah.
Chibi
Moon.
Which wasn't even, that's not even... Not only is that not a planet, that's not even a thing.
There was also Sailor Starfighter and Star Healer.
I never knew about those.
Yeah, I think they might have been trans in the original, but I don't know. I don't know much about, I don't remember much about Sailor Moon. I went through a huge Sailor Moon phase when I was 10. And
I thought you were going to say 2021.
No, I would remember stuff if it was from when I was 21. That was 2 years ago. Adam goes on to say that the Tailmon toy reminded him of a Digimon PC game that he had called Digimon Movie Music Maker. The voice actors were really bad in English. I don't have this. I've always kind of wanted to buy it because it's less than $10 on eBay, but I've always stopped myself because it's apparently super bad. Also, I don't know if it runs on Macs.
But you bought the Digimon board game, so you have standards.
I bought another Digimon board game the other day too.
Oh,
one that you use the minifigures for.
Did we ever release a video?
Not yet. I've been too busy to edit.
Okay.
But it's going to be coming out in 12-minute parts.
See, you could have edited that instead of doing the show right now.
Oh, stop. Maybe I'll try to edit it this weekend, but no promises. Because, I do have other stuff.
You can do it another weekend. We're very busy.
Yeah, I remember I have full-time work besides this. And also, I would like to do some things that aren't sit in front of a computer. Because, I'm a programmer and then I edit the podcast. So, I want to do other things. I want to work out. I want to go for runs and cool stuff. Adam says that he was surprised to hear that we were from Australia, since we don't sound like it, but then he says that he's just used to Kath and Kim.
Which is a disgustingly thick Australian accent.
Yeah, and it's put on as well, they don't actually sound like that normally.
I don't know.
No, that I've seen them in other stuff.
Maybe.
It's mainly the character, they just sort of emphasize the accent. What accent do we have, though? I'd be interested to...
You're British, mine's American.
I'm not British. Adam says that he thinks it's funny that he has no idea what we look like, but he can imagine that I look like Izumi from Frontier cosplaying as Miyako.
So, a tiny child with pink hair?
Yeah, a long pink hair, which I do not have long hair. I used to have pink hair, but I don't anymore. And Jay looks like a black-haired Yamaki, who's a character from Tamers, with a goatee. In my mind, it looks just like a suited adult is constantly bickering with this small girl.
That's fairly accurate, except I have a full beard.
Yeah, and I'm not that small. I'm swole. Yeah. And Adam gave us I will show you DigiWorld, and since this is take 2, it's no longer a new reaction, but it was Bellstarmon, who's female Beelzemon.
You mean Bayonetamon?
Yeah, also Bayonetta. And yeah, so sorry about that. We also had another I
never noticed that line actually. The DigiWorld doesn't have any Digibras.
Yeah, I said it.
I didn't notice it.
And we had another one which was from Wu Qinglong on Twitter, and it was Gaussmon, which is a Tyrannosaurus Rex without a torso
or arms. It's just a head with legs.
So sorry, you also miss out on that reaction. But I do have something for I will show you DigiWorld that I just pulled out of my head.
Really?
Earlier, yes. So we will get to that. Adam asks why Obnoxious Synopsis is at the start of each episode and not the end. And this is somewhat because of a legacy thing, because when I first wanted to do it, I wanted to do it after we'd already uploaded the last episode, and I wanted to do it in that one because I think something big was going to happen, and because it was near the end of season 1, and so it just sort of stuck there. There was another reason I
do like the idea of putting it at the end though, because it would put us to one recording session.
Yeah, instead of like 2.
Not this episode, though, because we'll make a decision about it later.
I also said that it's also... I know we addressed at the end of the episode about what we got right and wrong, but it's also interesting to put in the front because people might want to hear that episode. They might not remember, like, 100%, because we just sort of gloss over what you said. Like, the full actual recording is...
If you're really desperate to remember what I said, you just go back.
So, like, maybe we'll... Like, if enough... Like, I want to hear what people think, like... Do people think that we should put it at the end of the episode, or do you think people think it's fine where it is? I don't mind changing it, but if enough people say this is kind of weird, I can change it, and we'll just do it at the end of each episode instead of at the start of the next episode.
On With the Will, Chuck1 says that they're glad that May's toy wasn't broken, which is wrong, it was.
Yeah, so I picked it out of my shelf, and I was like, I hope this still works. Played with the paw, nothing. Maybe its batteries are flat.
Again, I'll fill in for you. It's Gatomon, Digiball, Lightning Claw.
I'm so glad.
Gatomon, Digiball.
I'm glad my doorstop is in there, because for those who don't know, I have a doorstop that says Gabumon Digivolve to Garurumon. Rawr!
It's very loud.
Yeah.
And they can imagine Godzilla J towering over painstakingly acquired rare Digimon collection. I'm not a Godzilla.
You're Yamaki.
I'm just Yamaki, I guess. And I just put them in color order, like they're meant to be.
Oh, that was really annoying. Once Jay was in my house and I was at work, and he just reorganized some of my collection, and it was really upsetting.
It was excellent.
I think you were at work or somewhere, and I called you, and you broke into hysterics. You found it so funny. I'm glad someone.
I was
did.
showing up to a D&D game actually.
Yeah.
So yes, Daisuke probably had the most reason to hate Ken. Daisuke's character, Daisuke, is simply more forgiving because he makes plenty of mistakes himself, and he wants everyone to be friends and move forward together.
Beamon, you're my friend!
I'm pathetic. The scope of the Kaiser's war crimes is a bit whacked for this argument, but whether Daisuke isn't bright enough to bear a grudge or whether he has a loving heart, they like that aspect of him. And you know what, I would agree that perhaps Daisuke is just too stupid to figure it out and just goes anyway, but it's really sudden. Nothing really happens to change his mind. And I would have liked that. I would have liked at least a piece of thought. He was just an advocate for Ken immediately. But, yeah, he's really stupid. The hints of Dai-Ken make their heart thump. They're cute together. Chuckmon says that they love when Daisuke is in bed wondering why Ken didn't want to be partners, and Ken was worried about losing Wormmon permanently. Daisuke is a cute dummy, and while they're a Daisuke fan, Dai-Ken is a cute one with supporting opposites. I imagine this is a shipping discussion, of which I have no input whatsoever.
Well, Taisuke is Taichi and Daisuke.
Yeah, which is, weird because Tai just goes away. He's just gone now. Episodes 24 to 29 are among their favourites in O2, which includes the one with the peeing turtle, so unfortunately you might have to reassess that. We see Daisuke's heart, Dai-Ken surfaces, and the next set of episodes is just really cool. They're never sure how to feel about Jogress, which I like. I do like it. It didn't come up in the best situation, but as an idea, I think it has a lot of potential. And the Angemon's handicap seems huge to only be strong against Dark Digimon. And it's particularly strong against Dark Digimon. I'm not sure if it's... I got the sense that it's weaker if they're not, but at the same time it might be that all the kids expected it to be hyper strong and it's not because of that. And it's actually just average. It's hard to tell. So we got WildWing64, who says that they never liked the explanation of the children sacrificing their crests, since in the last episode of Season 1, they found out the power was inside them. And that's true, but at the same time...
It's the power that they're sacrificing, though.
Yeah, they're sacrificing the power.
Yeah, the power is inside them, but they are sort of giving up that power. They're releasing that power. And
then the deliberate nerfing of the original cast is one of the reasons they always look back on O2 less favourably than the other seasons. And while that's true... it was also kind of necessary for them to get over the new kids. And it's a really tough balance.
I think they should have explained it earlier, though, because I think it would have been
for sure
better. It would be of higher quality, I think, if they discussed all these reasons and maybe put a little bit more, explanation into it.
My brain is dying. So this is a SoundCloud message from Cloudmaster 101, and they said that it's another amazing podcast, guys. They hope Jay isn't getting too much O2 fatigue, and I've got real fatigue right now, but also my O2 fatigue is strongest anytime I have to begin watching. on our note of death being pointless due to Primary Village, they think the reason... Specifically, they go into during the Dark Masters arc, Primary Village wasn't there. And so it was a big deal. And so death meant a lot, and if you died, you couldn't be reborn until the village came back. And that's true. And I really I liked that story conceit then. But they go on to say that, obviously, there's no logic now, since it's all fine. Death is not permanent anymore, and we've seen plenty of evidence of that. And yeah, it's a huge problem, and the kids, one of the biggest conflicts facing the kids in the show is, oh, we don't want to kill anything because your killing is wrong. But killing has never been more right, because it's killing something is the same as tasing it in this show. It's basically like tasing them and just disabling them. They ask how I feel about these Digidestined being too soft for the job, the lack of being trapped in the digital world and being able to go home to their regular lives. So, and they're looking for the next episode, and we appreciate that. So, I think, as far as them being trapped, it did need to be different. I liked when the kids were trapped, but it gave a lot of urgency to the show. But it does give us a different perspective when you get a lot of real-world stuff, and that's also interesting. Them being able to go back to their regular lifestyles, though, I think makes them reset a lot. Mm-hmm. That's why Daisuke never really seems to change, except when the writers say, oh, and it's changed now. And we not actually have, like, a character moment. And the kids being too soft, they're barely functional. Like, there's tons of times where you can identify that they're doing a bad job. And if they actually thought about it for half a second, they would do a good job. And they don't.
And then Cloudmaster said that they would leave a review on iTunes, which is... Here, do you want me to read that?
Go ahead.
One of, if not the best Digimon podcast available. 5 stars. Great dynamic between the hosts, informative and entertaining, and the consistency of release makes it unmissable. Joined at episode 30 and was fully caught up by episode 31.
That's impressive.
Yeah. While I have dub nostalgia, it's good to hear Jay saying the positives and negatives without bias. I really hope we get to at least the end of Tamers before Jay throws in the towel. But even so, a great time. I hope not to see the end of it anytime soon. Me neither. I hope Jay continues. That would be good.
Can I say quickly? He listened to our first episode, number 30, and caught up before 31. That means he listened to almost 2 full days of content in a week.
Wow.
Like, that's 2 full days of not stopping. So that had to be like, I think it was 45 hours.
Yeah, but
at an hour and a half per episode, which is sometimes longer than that.
Yeah, but he could have listened to it on 2 times speed.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
I do. I have before. When I had lots of podcasts to catch up on, I use it on 2 times, but if I don't and I want to actually make them last longer, I will listen to them at normal speed.
I should speed my podcast up.
Start with 1.5, because otherwise you won't miss it. You have to sort of build up to it. Anyway, so Hero Garbed and Green on Tumblr gives us the pronunciation of the Holy Beasts.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah, I knew how
we might post that somewhere, but we don't need to discuss it now.
Yeah, we're going to post it, but the only ones I knew was Bai Humon and Qinglong, and now I know Ju Chaomon and Zhuan Wumon, which, yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. And then we have an Anonymon who says the Leafmon saying bye reminds them of The Lion King 2 and was wondering if that's what I was thinking of. And yes, thank you, that was what I was thinking about, and I'm really sad that I didn't remember it, but yeah. So
My favourite movie is The Lion Kid. It's
when Kovu and Kiara are both saying bye to each other, and they're both, sad because they like each other, and their family's like, but here's an evil lion. So for I Will Show You DigiWorld, we have one that's just suggested by me. It's, honestly, I just found out about its existence last week, and I thought it was kind of a bit strange. So I wonder if Jay feels the same way. So this is Titamon.
Titamon.
Titamon. What do you think?
It's gonna be like a titan, like a big. Whoa! What is that? That's really cool.
There's a better picture here.
It's a Homestuck.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I've never seen this Digimon before until Cyber Sleuth, and I was kind of like, this is a strange Digimon.
That looks like a bad guy the Royal Knights would fight.
Yeah, it does look bad, but yeah, has a big sword. He's pretty cool. How do you feel about him?
I think he's awesome. I don't really have much else to say. He's very, he's kind of uniquely generic, if that makes any sense. There's nothing really about him you go, oh, that guy. But at the same time, I've never seen anything exactly like him.
Yeah.
It's a cool armor design.
Yeah, if you think of a big monster titan.
Yeah.
Reminds me kind of like a Monster Hunter character. I don't know why. Maybe it's a sword. I don't know. If you want to contact us, you can leave us an email at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @TranslationMon. We have a Tumblr, which is LostinTranslationmon.tumblr.com or LostinTranslationmon.co.vu. We're Lost in Translation on Facebook. We have a discussion thread on With the Will. We will have a Reddit thread on the Digimon subreddit, and that'll be linked in the description. You can comment on this episode on SoundCloud, or you can message us on SoundCloud, and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. We'll not only just love you forever, but we will also read it on the show, and it'll be really nice if we deserved 5 stars. I would like to deserve 5 stars. That'd be nice.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, we're pretty swaggy. Except when I use swaggy, that immediately lost like 3 stars.
I'm really feeling it.
We've decided, as I said before, to cover both these episodes in one chunk. One chunk, man.
Nice. Solid.
I'm really funny.
Are you?
I think I am. I'm a gift. The episode starts off with, them just destroying Dark Towers, as you do. And that's fine. There's
It's
silence.
getting the full montage of Dark Towers that I've always kind of wanted to see.
It's not so much a montage, just like, this is what they're doing today.
But
I guess that's kind of what a montage is, yeah.
It's time for a montage.
It's not a montage. Describes something that's exactly a montage. So there's just, background music, sounds of attacks, that's fine. Kids cheering, that's fine. But the dub doesn't want any of this kids not talking business. So Davis says,
"Whoever destroys the most control spires gets a date with me. By the way, Kari's the only one eligible."
So everyone excitedly stops breaking towers.
Yeah, I did notice that. It was like, nope. First of all, Kari's not destroying any Dark Towers, Nefertimon is. And Davis is still so obsessed with Kari. And when was the last time Daisuke mentioned, he's in the XVmon episode, he wanted to impress her, but it hasn't been that often, has it?
No, I don't think it has. I think he's kind of dropped it. Yeah, Daisuke does seem to have dropped the whole Kari thing to an extent. It might come back, but to them, it's an element of the character, not the crux of the character, which the English team seems to think it is.
Yeah, Daisuke's pretty. I guess maybe he's given up, or maybe he's just not as thirsty.
Please give up.
I noticed that the art director, I think, is someone different because the shadows and the faces are a little bit more detailed. Oh no, it's just something I noticed in this episode. The kids go back home and the Digimon are asking Demivemon what it's like to Jogress. And this is sort of taken, as always, everyone's mean to each other in the dub. And Tailmon and Patamon say that Demivemon has voices in his head, and Tailmon doesn't want to Jogress with him because she would get lost with all the other voices in there. Miyako asks Daisuke if they were synchronized, and Daisuke holds his nose because he thinks of synchronized swimming. I really like that part.
So I really thought that in English they would make a joke about someone farting or something.
Yeah.
But then I realized that that's untrue. That's backwards. They would probably make a synchronized swimming joke in English, and then they make a poop joke in Japanese.
Yeah, you're right. Because no one likes poop. I think Demivemon let one go. Hikari starts wondering if other combinations are possible, and thinks of XVmon and Angemon, and that one's so cool. She also thinks of XVmon and Tailmon. And of course, because Tailmon's a cat, she's like, "Oh, try letting that cat out at night." Oh, okay, good.
Something
That's
like
right.
that. But I don't know why she thinks of everything with XVmon. You'd think that she... I mean, I guess she's probably trapped in a thought of XVmon can do it, so it'll be only with him and someone else. But, that's not a reasonable consideration, I don't think.
Yeah, if I was her, I'd be thinking of combinations with my Digimon.
Yeah, it'd be Gatomon and this, Gatomon and that.
Do you think this is to say that only XVmon, they have to all Jogress with XVmon, or do you think it's just...
I don't think they will in the long run, but, there is a weird possibility of, Daisuke's the main character, he's the one who Jogresses with people.
So you think they're going to be combined with him and
No.
Ken?
The reason that you Jogress at all is because you are compatible with that person. There's no reason... Daisuke and TK would never, right? At this stage? Well, Daisuke might. Davis wouldn't.
Daisuke and Takeru go on well, but in the dub they seem to make comments at each other. Just these snide comments.
Oh, how funny would it be if it's Sorry, I can imagine a situation where they begin Jogressing, and, what's his name? Davis is like, "I can feel it. I can feel our mutual love for Kari." And then TK's like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Iori makes a sort of because his sound makes a concerned noise, and Daisuke starts yelling at him, and his face goes really big, and then Iori yells at him, and his face goes big, and I found that really funny. I found it funny when I was 8. I find it funny when I'm 22. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny thing to happen.
The image behind our title this week should just be all the big faces.
I've already made the image.
Oh, okay.
You won't be disappointed.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I also made it just when I was testing to make sure it wasn't the mic that was the problem, and I was just talking to the mic about how I was setting up the logo, and I was like, I like these big faces. They're faces, and I was just like saying random
And
stuff,
they're
whatever
big.
came up in my head. Iori made this noise because he doesn't want to force them to evolve, and that one form's enough, and he doesn't like fighting. I think this part is very good for his character. Because, well, good as his character, not for his character.
Except
because
that-
he's young and he doesn't like change. He doesn't want to fight. He thinks that everything should just follow the status quo.
But he has 2 evolutions on his dude. He says the word one form's enough, but he has 2 armor evolutions and a regular evolution.
I know, but like this is a different one that involves another one, and also I think he may be trying to come up with ideas why not to involve Ken.
Yeah, I understand that. But, like, he's saying this in response to, like, progressing within the group.
Yeah.
So he just seems small-minded.
Yeah.
Like TK did when Patamon wouldn't evolve.
Yeah, and he didn't want anything to change or to happen and that's probably why Patamon didn't evolve to Angemon for a long time. It's because when he was going to, Patamon didn't want him to, like in the Elecmon episode. In the dub, Cody thinks that they should just think this through first because Jogress might be dangerous. Which, that could be fair enough. Like, they don't know if how much it hurts the actual Digimon.
But the Digimon said, I loved it, it was great.
Yeah, but they don't know if it has any long-term effects.
But there's never been any evidence. I mean, I guess it's only been once, but both Digimon give perfect evidence of, like, it was awesome, I loved it.
And
it felt
yeah.
totally fine.
But they do become babies after. But
Also,
that was...
has any evolution ever had long-term effects on them? No, of course it hasn't. So where would this come from?
I'm surprised Agumon doesn't have any long-term effects from being dark evolved 3 times.
Yeah.
Into Digimon.
Exactly.
I would really like that as like a side plot if Agumon is like corrupted and they have to fix him.
But it would have come up in Try.
Maybe, we don't
No,
know. We haven't seen
no.
chapter 2 yet. We know that a Digimon is corrupted who belongs to the children, but we just haven't seen... Jay hasn't seen that character yet.
Right?
Yep, that's the reason. That's basically why I've decided why we're not watching it until... So they didn't mention this earlier, but Jay and I will be covering it together when we're done with 02, so that's June. So Jay has
0 June.
3 glorious months of not watching
What
Try.
if in, like, the last 2 episodes they start bringing Tamer's characters in?
Oh, what do they bring Ryo in? That'll just be really confusing for any of the Western audience.
Oh, that'd be awesome. One of the episodes is just like a let's play and like speed run of the game.
Yeah. Though if they have one and they explain if they just have one Try movie and it's just Ryo's like what happened, I would love that.
That'd be cool.
Like it would just the entire. I really think that they if they do want to talk about Ryo, I think that they should have already done that, where they had a movie that was just Ryo, because I would.
I wonder if the American writers in that episode where Ryo shows up just goes like, who's that guy?
Yeah, they would probably be like, did we miss something? But they just roll with it. What they should have done is they should have just not have Hurricane Touchdown and instead just done a movie version of the Wonder Swan games.
Absolutely.
Even though I don't think they were all out by then, they should have just delayed it until they had them all out, because it will always upset me that the Wonder Swan games did not come out here.
Swan.
So
Wank.
Demi Vemon is calling out Paildremon's attack, which is Desperado Blaster. It's super cute. I really like it.
And then in English, they're like, hey, Demi Vemon has a new battle cry. And Demi goes, Tih!
Yeah, so he either sneezes or breathes in and out. It does not look good for anything. But I don't know why they couldn't just kept Desperado Blaster. It's not particularly violent or bad. It's just... I don't find what the dub did to be funny. I just think they should have kept the original line.
It felt really awkward.
It felt... Like, if they did a poo joke or something and they came up with that, that's, I guess, fine. But they didn't. In the digital world, Ken and Wormmon are talking, and Ken is still worried that Jogress isn't dangerous to Wormmon, but it's kind of like he's just coming up with theories of why he shouldn't join the kids because he still feels bad.
They identify that more directly in the English.
Yeah, definitely. So in the dub, Wormmon thinks that that Ken is nervous about joining the group, and he's just coming up with all these reasons, and then Ken's like, oh yeah, I should probably get home before my parents start worrying that I've disappeared again, which I actually really appreciate that they added. Like, the original didn't address this, that he now cares about his parents. He loves his parents. And it's just not in the original, actually.
Get loved on.
Yeah, and I think it's fine that he's actually learnt from this, and he doesn't want his parents to think that he's disappeared every time he goes to the digital world.
You should probably just tell them then, really.
Yeah, he'd probably say, "Oh yeah, I've got this is Wormmon."
Imagine how if you told him the whole story. He's basically like, Mom, Dad, I'm Stalin, but only for computer programs.
Also in the digital world, Arukenimon is upset by the Dark Towers being destroyed, and then she finds a flashing TV and is loaded the children were in the digital world and they were talking about her. She kicks the television because they are talking about capturing her. And
So-
that's fair enough because she doesn't want to be captured.
I feel like this bad guy's really weird because she just gets frustrated so easily. Most bad guys in this show have been very cool and calm, unless they were like Edamon or something.
Yeah.
But she switches between being calm and in control and just being like completely outraged constantly.
In the dub, she gets frustrated because the kids are calling her creepy. Then Davis says something that's slightly out of character and sort of like a surfer dude. He goes, "Let's get this started, dude!"
Dude.
And it just reminds me of Prinny from Can I Really Be the Hero?
From Disgaea.
This guy, not Dissidia, as I said in our first recording. And now everyone knows. I got Dissidia and this guy confused.
You were embarrassed for a moment there, and
Yeah,
then you re-embarrassed yourself.
Yeah, I shouldn't have even mentioned it, but yeah, Prinny is cool. Arukenimon has a mobile phone, and I guess this sort of gives us a hint that she's human, because, humans have mobile phones.
Yeah, if this is the Japanese, this is like a final convincing moment. You're like, oh, okay, mobile phone, let's go.
Yeah. Not only does Palmon say she's human, but she also has a mobile phone, so maybe she is human. We go to the children who just get the message from Arukenimon, and Yoli calls Arukenimon, which...
Straight up.
Yeah, she should know her name, because she's later on surprised that she's a Digimon.
They all are.
Yeah. They go to the house, and the house is big. Arumadimon says that it seems...
Have we established why they go to the house?
Yeah, because Arukenimon sends a message.
Yeah, and in the Japanese thing, it's like, there's a big party at the Giga house, and they're like, well, that's dumb, it's a trap. And in English, it's, I want revenge. Come here so I can have revenge.
So it's not even like they can't even say that it's a trap in the English version. It's just straight up like the Digimon is there to fight.
It's like you've pointed a giant I use the example of a bear trap. Because it's just like a very conventional trap. One is like someone standing on the other side of it being like, come over here.
Yeah.
And you're like, that seems suspicious. Well, we'll go and be careful. And the other one is a neon sign pointing at the bear trap being like, step on this.
Arumadimon says that the house looks 30 times bigger, and Iori says it's just like Gulliver's Travels. Miyako says that
Iori doesn't say that, Davis does.
No, Davis says it later on, but he doesn't know what Gulliver's...
Oh, no, you're right,
yeah,
you're right.
In the original, Iori says it's like Gulliver's Travels. And I'll get to what Davis says later on. Miyako says how they're just there to check things out, so they should be careful. Meanwhile, in the dub, Yoli says they should just go right ahead. It's like, okay, I guess they're making her brave, but it just kind of makes it look like she's not cautious.
Yeah, they all kind of seem stupid for going in through the front.
Yeah.
You'd think that if they went to find, like, another way in, of which there'd be plenty, because they're so small in comparison to the house, that, like, they probably could they might be able to surprise Arukenimon in some way. But no, let's go through the front door.
Yeah, just go.
Arukenimon at this time
they go through
is
the window.
looking at them through whatever security system, and is like, I can't believe they actually showed up. She didn't have faith in her trap.
In a way, this episode reminds me of playing games.
No, the next episode.
No, I'm just saying that, like...
Because there's a house?
Yeah, because there's a house, and the Digimon's watching them and saying, haha, they're so stupid.
I guess.
But also the next episode, because we get characters actually doing something, but of course we'll address it in this discussion. Did you notice that Ken's dub voice actor didn't seem to care?
I didn't actually.
Like, he was just having none of this. He was just like, don't worry, guys, I'll go in.
I think the problem was how little I care. And I just empathized.
Aww. The children decide to go in shifts, and Takaru's annoying because he says, oh, we can't just leave Hikari and Miyako alone, because, they're girls and they can't look after themselves, of course. And I think that I'm glad that the dub didn't keep this, because I just think that it's girls can't look after themselves, And I think that the better reason is to split up the group 50-50. In the dub, TK says that Ken and Davis should go in, since they're both ready and fired up to go in, and the others will stay outside. Cody says, I want to go in too. Davis takes complete credit for TK's idea, but at least that TK is not a sexist, misogynistic, pig-flying angel man.
What?
I was trying to think of a joke referring to how Patamon's not a pig.
It didn't work.
I tried really hard.
And got so far.
But in the end, it didn't even matter. Iori wants to keep
Did you even matter?
Iori wants to keep the others out of trouble, and Cody wants to stop fighting them from within the group happening. because Ken and Davis are arguing in the dub, which is weird because they're not so much arguing in the original as Ken saying that he's trying to be a hero again, and Daisuke is just like, you can't just do that, and it's not really an argument. Daisuke is more concerned than angry.
You can't stop me heroing.
The children go inside, and there's silence, which the dub can't have. The children start questioning about how they're going to get in for some reason, even though the answer is the window, because that's how they're shown to get in. This is when Davis brings up Gulliver's Travels, but he gets it confused with Jack and the Beanstalk, and then Cody corrects him.
Excellent.
Ken says they fight like an old married couple.
So they get inside, and just like bugs start swarming out of everything, and then you sort of realize, okay, the insect master's trap. If it's Arukenimon, and it is, it's not forgetting she's an insect. It's just that there's lots of insects. So I like the visual of the Roachmon coming out, because they're all the right size for cockroaches in a house, except that we know that they're like dude-sized, and so that gives you a sense of scale. All the Digimon evolve, and it takes like 2 minutes. Good job, everyone.
Yeah, and the dub also stuffs up because before they evolve, Vmon calls the Roachmon, which is their canon English name, and he calls them Gokimon, which is the Japanese name.
So they fight them for a little while, and there's a bit where they go over to the sink, and...
no, you're missing the highlight of this episode. Iori grabs the spoon and hits a Roachmon in the face.
Right, yeah,
And it's cut in the dub, and I don't know why, but he just looks so happy, and he says, "Man!" because he likes kendo.
So there's they go to the sink, and Vmon grabs like a water spray thing and starts spraying a bunch of them that come at it. Except that, like, if you look at the scale, okay?
Yeah?
The Gokimon are almost the size of Vmon, right?
I think they're smaller.
But let's say he's twice the size of one.
Yeah.
Okay? The water spray thing is smaller than Vmon, so he can hold it. Now, remember that it's meant to be the size of an actual house. This thing is slightly smaller than 2 cockroaches.
Yeah.
So like imagine your faucet for your tap is smaller than 2 cockroaches.
That's weird.
Yeah. Like they think the scale works, then you actually look at it and you're like, that makes no sense at all.
But also, I don't think the house isn't, I don't think it's made for anyone. I think it's just made for the bugs to be bug-sized.
I know,
I don't think there's a giant or Titamon in this case.
But you should be able to get through the pipes and stuff.
Daisuke wants to Jogress, but then Iori says we don't know whether we can kill these because we don't know if they're dark towers or not, so we can't destroy them.
Stop being so soft, just murder everything.
In the dub, we have another mess up because Cody says that they don't have dark spirals or black gears, and black gears aren't a problem in this season.
But you know what? You wouldn't be able to see them. Like I guess that's a plus of it, and they might have been told about it.
I know, but why would they just start showing up now?
That's true.
I just feel like it's just a slip. Like they needed to fill more of his talking, so they thought of something else it could be.
I think that's called hitting the post.
Yeah, I think it is. Then the others go inside because they're worried, and then some Kunimon show up. And in the original, a soft flute song starts playing as the Kunimon show up. In the dub, no song is playing. Ken is electrocuted off Stingmon by the Kunemon, and Ken falls off the sink and into the sink, and Stingmon goes after him. Aramati becomes Submarimon to rescue him.
There's a weird piece of animation here where I'm pretty sure Ken is whipped off to the left by the thread. Stingmon is whipped off to the right, and then all of a sudden Stingmon is jumping after Ken. Neither of them have thread on them, and they're in water.
Yeah, I didn't notice that part. So maybe it's an animation error.
It's just they didn't pay attention at all.
Because animation errors do happen. I try to ignore them though. There's a really cute part in the original which is kind of lost in the dub, and it's the breakup's playing when Amadimon evolves to Submarimon, and the other children are flying past, and as it sort of zooms out and zooms in on the other children, breakup drowns out because we're going to the other children, and even though they are quite close, they are small compared to the house, and I really like that touch, and it's sort of just lost in the dub, like no song is changed. It's the battle music.
They do play around with the music a lot in the especially in the Japanese.
Yeah.
Because music is only appropriate for certain things that are happening.
Yeah. Ken and Stingmon thank Iori for saving them, and Iori says that he's just getting even because Ken saved him from Thundermon. In the dub, it's more or less the same, except the situation seems a lot more tense, and Ken and Cody a tiny bit harsher to each other, especially Ken, which just isn't his thing. That's like, well, I guess that's that then. Yeah, fine. Like, it just...
I don't
It just
understand
seems
if
different.
I don't understand if Iori was being a dick, but like Ken has no reason to be.
Yeah, because Iori's kind of been harsh towards Ken, but he's polite in this part.
And
Like he says, I only did this to repay my debt because that's how I've been brought up.
I only saved you because you saved me. Otherwise, I would have let you die.
Yeah, basically. The children hear the flute again, and we find out that it's Arukenimon, or the strange lady, I guess, at this point. In the dub, the flute plays for the first time at this point.
It's actually Kirpymon.
Oh no, don't bring up Kirpymon, please.
It's Arukenimon. She's the one playing the flute.
Well, I'm ready to shove that flute right up her nose.
For some reason, he's sick of this song that he just started playing just then.
It sure as hell wasn't the first choice for a line of where to stick it up.
Yeah. Ken wants to Jogress, and then Arukenimon starts playing the flute, and for some reason, it controls Stingmon.
Because he's a bug.
Then Arumadimon says that he's going to evolve, and he evolves to Digimon, and then during this evolution, the jazzy music from Hurricane Touchdown starts playing.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
But I think it works because it's like, it's to show that something's not quite right.
Yeah.
And then, because Arukenimon takes control of Digimon.
That's not how they used it in Hurricane Touchdown, though. They just used it as
The whole time.
crap music.
Yeah. It works in this episode,
It's
though.
much better.
It's much better.
Even though it still sucks.
Yeah. Arukenimon is actually Sassymon, we find out, because she says in the original, wow, it's really great that you noticed the flute and then chose the wrong evolution.
That was sweet.
Yeah, I just like,
'Cause
wow, what is your damage, lady?
I didn't really think about it, but yeah, Digimon is a bug.
Yep.
It has like little wings.
Ankylomon's not, Submarimon's probably not,
Yeah, but why would he armor evolve? I mean, Kilomon seems much...
because they needed another evolution to control, I guess, and they wanted him to, I don't know. I have no idea. Ankylomon's stronger. Ankylomon's just basically better, less drill Digimon, right? Arukenimon's still mocking Ken's torment, and that's in the original, but in the dub, Arukenimon taunts the kids for being dumb enough to fall into a trap. And, they don't really fall into your trap. They kind of just came in knowing it was a trap, so...
That's not falling into it, it's walking into it.
Yeah.
And then falling.
So Stingmon and Digimon are talking in the dub, even though they're under control. And then Ken...
This is a really bad...
Yeah.
It's a really bad habit of the English to put voices on Digimon that have been mind controlled.
Yeah.
And make it seem like they have become evil, not that they are being controlled.
Though, to be fair, Meramon in both versions of Season 1 did talk under control.
No, but the black gears caused like madness.
Yeah.
There was a difference.
Yeah, because Meramon was just really upset.
Yeah, the dark gears didn't make Devimon control you. It made you evil.
But his dark touch did control you.
Yeah, but that's the difference. It made you into a bad person who would do bad things.
Yeah.
But it didn't mean that like if Devimon told you to do something, you didn't necessarily have to do it. Whereas with the black rings or this flute, it means you do have to do it.
Yeah. Ken, Daisuke, and Iori fall down into a spiderweb with a Dokugamon, while XVmon is being drilled at the groin by Digmon.
It's really gross.
It's cut.
Really gross.
It's cut, obviously. And, Stingmon's holding XVmon while Digmon's just drilling at his groin. And, ow. That would really hurt. So then, obviously, the next episode...
Actually,
we'll
please
start.
tell me that's one of the things in the
What?
in the title picture.
No, it's not. Oh, why didn't I put that?
It's so
there
strong.
were just so many good faces. There were a lot of good faces in this two-parter.
Just view on me like, no, my groin.
I'm so upset that I didn't miss that. I'm not going to redo the image. I just want this episode to be out so I can watch Try.
We can post that as cut content on Tumblr or something.
Yeah, well, I'll put it somewhere. I'll get it you just get it tattooed on your neck.
No, you can do that.
Getting XVmon, getting...
It always reminds me that life is suffering.
At the start of the episode, which I guess we're covering it as a two-parter, so fade in, they're on the web, and then there's just, the kids yelling out for help, being sad. But of course, the dub needs to put a line, so it's Davis saying,
This is why I don't surf the internet. I hate websites.
It's so stupid.
but they had to put it in.
Because, even so... Okay, so even if he didn't surf the internet, this still would have happened?
Yeah.
So, he's...
I was referring to the web, the spider web.
But it's not even saying, oh, okay, I regret this situation. I don't like being in the spider web. It's, I wouldn't do another thing because I don't like webs.
Yeah. Well, it was...
We wouldn't have avoided this at all.
It's a joke.
I know, but the joke could have been better.
Iori is the only one with free hands, and while he's yelling at, Digimon to snap it out, which I actually found, to be an insight to his character, even though he sees that Digimon can't be stopped, he's still yelling out because he says that he thinks that Digimon can stop what he's doing. And I think that's a real show of what his we get a lot of insight into his character in this episode.
I think so.
Like, we get it. This is a good episode for the new kids that we haven't really seen much of. We get an insight into Miyako, and we get an insight into Iori. So Iori's like helplessly yelling out, "Digimon, stop what you're doing, please stop!" And then Daisuke and Ken say, "You're the only one with free hands. Try to contact the others." Takeda and Hikari reply by saying that they are trapped by Synopsis and they can't help the others.
They would be totally fine if they could just kill the
Yeah.
Synopsis, but no, they're too cowardly.
Yeah, they're not sure if they're actual real Digimon.
Doesn't matter, just do it.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that it's probably fine that they didn't kill them because they were just under control.
No, it doesn't matter, just do it. They'll be back.
In the dub, Kaori says that she knew it was a bad idea that they split up. She didn't say anything. It would have been good if she said something because it would add some context, but she didn't.
Every time something bad happens, I just say, I always knew this would happen, and that way I seem smart.
Iori's stressing out, which is fair enough because he can't help because no one is able to come to rescue him because they've got their own stuff to handle. And Ken tells Iori not to give up. And Iori says that he wants to be strong, and then he sees the aircon, so he tells Ken, and Ken passes Daisuke a convenient wooden block, and he kicks it at the air conditioner.
I think it's debris from something else. It's not just like it was lying there the whole time.
No, it was because they fell from above. Yeah, so it's from that. But
So
it's
it came
pretty,
from somewhere.
It's pretty convenient that it was within legs reach.
What is convenient is that soccer is now a plot point.
Which is fine. I'm glad they finally brought in the fact that they were good at football.
It only took a season. It took a season and a half of Digimon, over 75 episodes, for them to finally make soccer good.
No, they brought it up in the Skull Greymon episode. They were playing the football, and was it Piermon that gets hit in the face?
No, what?
Someone gets hit in the face with a ball.
So?
I know, I really like that. It was really cute. In the dub, Ken tells Cody to think of something, and he's a lot harsher than, don't give up, Iori. He's just like saying, you've got to think of someone. You're the only one who can help. And it's just really... Everyone's so harsh in the dub.
I still really like Iori's thing where he's looking around and he goes, an air conditioner remote? That must mean there's an air conditioner nearby.
Yeah.
And he's during the entire duration of the line, there must be an air conditioner nearby.
He's looking
the air
on.
conditioner is fully in frame.
Yep. When they turn the aircon on, they all fall off, and then...
It blows the spider up and down. And again, like, the dub adding lines to things that are mind controlled, the spider goes... and it blows it up and down, and it snaps the web.
And Iori just free falls because he wasn't too tied up. And then Ken grabs his leg, which is important. Remember that. So the dub has Ken say, I've got you, Cody. And then Cody says, are you sure you're not just pulling my leg? Because he's literally pulling his leg. Stingmon has very shiny abs. I don't know why I feel the need to say that, but...
It was super important.
They're very shiny. XVmon escapes and helps the kids get down to safety, and then they use a slipper to get inside the cupboard. They are trapped inside it, and Digmon's drilling through it.
Slowly, very slowly.
Yep.
It takes him like 10 minutes.
I feel like he should be able to crack through it straight away. If let's say a little drill thing was here that was that size, it could drill through this cupboard.
In fact, Drillmon. Okay, I mean maybe it's different strength, but Drillmon can't.
Drillmon.
So, what's it? Digimon. Digimon can't get through this wooden paneling in 10 minutes, but Submarimon can get through a piece of metal in literally half a second.
Yeah.
Just punches straight through it.
It's convenience. Yeah. It's really strong wood for some reason. So they start talking about how come this flute's controlling the Digimon, and Ken says it must be the vibrations in the air, like with moths and bats, and how moths listen and disrupt bat sounds to protect themselves.
Good vibrations.
The dub seems to think that it's referring to an actual story of the moth and the bat, and they say, "Oh yeah, I remember that story," because then they explain it, and then Davis like, oh, all I know is the story of the birds and the bees. And then when they finish talking, Davis is like, no, now can we talk about the birds and the bees? Can we talk about the birds and the bees now, guys? I'm like, why? Why is this necessary, Davis?
Because Kari's nearby.
No, Kari's not even nearby. She's off flying on the cat.
Hey, Kari, do you know the birds and the bees? She's like, yeah, what about it? It's like, huh?
You would expect that from the dub.
Yep.
Daisuke contacts Miyako because, they decide, oh yeah, she's good at computers. That's right. Do you remember that, guys? Then they send a message to the others, and Hikari says that there's a computer in the study. So they fly to the computer, and then Miyako jumps off Aquilamon, lands on the button, and the computer turns on. But there's a slight delay, and of course they can't just have a moment of silence in the dub.
Nope.
So Ioli says, and nothing. And it says, wait, there we go. And it says, welcome to Whack.
Yeah, which is Mac, and it's a tomato instead of an apple.
Yeah, I like it. I want a Whackbook Pro.
Whackbook Air.
Whackbook Air.
What are you doing?
Miyako says that she helps synthesize audio for the Teenage Wolves, which is Yamato's band.
You mean the Digidestined, formerly known as Matt?
Yeah. And she says that, she adds in other instruments sometimes.
Knife of wolf.
Knife of wolf. Knife of teenage. Teenage wolf bag.
I'm just a teenage wolf bag, baby.
In the dub, Yoli seems to make Matt, she seems to say that Matt basically does not sound very good before she works on the sound.
And I think TK confirms that.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought he'd just gotten really good. I'll tell him I know his secret.
Hikari helps Miyako move the mouse, and they record the sound of the flute. In the dub, I know something that I think might be a problem. The flute stops playing in the dub as soon as they finish recording it.
When they start playing over the
No. There's the time between they stop pressing record and when they do they're copying and overlaying and inverting it and stuff. But in the dub, the flute cuts out then, even though in the original it continues to play. What they're doing is they're going to invert it and then play back the sound to free the Digimon. In the dub, they feel the need to slightly say other things, like, I'm just going to layer it and copy it and layer it over each other again, and then I'm going to distort it. I was like, I don't know why. Inverting's fine.
It was a perfectly reasonable explanation.
Yeah. Davis asks if they're back to normal, and even though they're quite far away, TK responds. I'm not sure how, but...
Don't they contacted each other with,
I don't know, but they were talking. Instead of just emailing, Davis says, are they back to normal now? And TK says, yeah, I think so. And they're far away. Neither of them are holding their D-terminals.
Oh, excellent.
So I guess it's also filling silence again. There's lots of silence filling for the dub in these episodes. I feel like they haven't been this bad before for a while. Then Arukenimon jumps down and the children learn that she's not human and she morphs into a Homestuck character.
So, in Japanese, this is a big reveal, because if you watched it by itself, it would have been like, oh, I didn't know she was a Digimon the whole time. In English, every character, including Daisuke earlier in this episode, has called her Arukenimon.
Yep.
She's never said her name or anything to them.
I don't think Ken even knew her name because he was also surprised when he found out that she was actually a Digimon.
And so they all act surprised, even though they shouldn't. So this says a few things. First of all, that the writers had no actual foresight, and I get that. I've complained about before, when okay, maybe they didn't know what the next episodes were, maybe they were translating it as they went. But in this episode, they knew. In this one, they knew there was a surprise, and they just ignore it. So the writers very clearly didn't think about it at all, which is just lazy and sad. But more importantly, they had a really great opportunity to make a really funny joke where she drops down and she goes, I'm Arukenimon, and then all the children go, wait, we knew that already.
Yeah, and I feel like they could have used that. Just use any scene of the kids looking at Arukenimon from the back where you don't see their mouths moving, and I think they could have chosen that, and they could have made it into a funnier moment just to fix their mistake, and it would be forgivable. It's really annoying. The dub just ruins it, and if you're watching the original, the Japanese version just by itself, do you think you'd be surprised? Would this be a big moment of, oh my god?
Yeah, I mean, she's acted like a person the whole time.
And she had the mobile phone. Palmon said that she was a human.
Which is a bit of a lie.
It's also,
you'd think that Palmon would know.
Yeah, she would, because Digimon can sense other Digimon. But it's more to make you think that it's for the viewer, basically.
Yeah, but whatever, I'll accept that.
Yeah.
I will accept that Palmon can make mistakes.
Now we know this is a good episode because it's been 14 minutes and we only just now get our first evolution of the episode. So it's to X-Vmon and then X-Vmon and Stingmon Jogris. But before that happens, Stingmon says, why do I have the sudden urge to sit on a tuffet eating curds and whey? Because really spiders, I guess. And they wanted to put in another reference that doesn't quite fit, but they'll try their hardest. I really like this episode because Miyako is basically calling the shots in this episode, and she's the leader. She says, I have an idea, guys. Let's go to the kitchen, let's get Pepper, let's get bug spray, and let's attack her. And
Davis really deserved to be the leader because he has goggles.
Yeah, I feel like Miyako is more of a leader, and she's also very smart. Sometimes I feel like the show forgets that Miyako's probably I think she might be smarter than Ken. Without the effect of the Dark Spore, she's smarter than Ken. She is the smartest in the show.
Ken just has more information than everyone else.
Yeah. I think she's just as smart as Koshiro was in the first season.
Well,
I guess she's older.
No.
I just don't think they show it as much.
No, but they go out of their way to make her, kind of also stupid. She's just can we talk about something else now? Oh, I'm bored. What were we talking about? And, she doesn't pay attention.
Yeah.
She might be... I think she has... like she is smart on like an IQ sense, but she has no like interaction on an intelligent. She has. From a Dungeons and Dragons perspective, I don't know if this comes across particularly, but she has high intelligence and low wisdom.
Yeah, I like those characters because I like playing them because it's like super intelligent.
Makes bad decisions.
Makes bad decisions. Very impatient with their decisions. Doesn't actually want to think, but is actually very intelligent.
That's what my new character is actually.
That's
He's
really
a conspiracy theorist, so he's really, really smart, but he's not wise. He makes terrible choices.
So they electrocute her and they fight her, and this is at the point where I realized that Arukenimon is voiced by the same voice actress as Togemon and Renamon. So, I don't know, it was just it's very weird to hear Togemon be evil, because I love Togemon.
I will punch you.
Needle spray! They still have a needle attack. Spirit needle spray!
Spirit, yeah, I can see that.
I should have realized it then, but I didn't realize it until these episodes, so...
And then chick chicka bang bang!
Yeah, but also in the dub that they've got the same voice. I'm not sure about the original. So Arukenimon's hurt, so she's on the ground, and it always weirds me out, like, why don't evil Digimon and, like, non-partner Digimon devolve when they're weakened?
Because their evolutions aren't based on, like, a Digivice or something making them do it. It's not temporary power that's bringing them to that stage. That's just the way they are.
I know, but...
I think the example to give is it's like having a 5-year-old, and then you've given it energy to become a 20-year-old, and then when someone punches it in the face, it becomes a 5-year-old again. But someone who aged up to being 20 doesn't stop.
I can argue against that, because though there was actually a time we saw a Digimon devolve who didn't have a Digivice, and it was Saberleomon. And he evolved to Saberleomon and devolved without the Digivice.
Did he? I thought he died.
No, he was Saberleomon to rescue them. And then when they came back to the old restaurant, he de-evolves to Leomon, explains stuff, then evolves later on to Saberleomon, and then dies. But then becomes Leomon again.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that the writers of the show aren't very good at their jobs.
Also, arguably, Leomon's evolution was because he touched the Digivice and it gave him the power. And I think he says that as well. So Arukenimon's on the floor. The children don't want to destroy her and ask her why she wants to destroy the world, and she says that it's just what she's made for. Ken says that he will destroy her so the others don't dirty their hands, and Takeru just says don't try to act cool. In the dub, they don't really reference killing her.
Why don't they just kill her?
Yeah, it would solve a lot of problems. Ken says that he'll take care of it, and TK says there's no I in team. They're about to enter...
There is an I in Arukenimon.
There are a few, but not in Arachnimon.
That's not true, there's only one.
Not in Arachnimon. There are none in Arachnimon.
That's true. Oh, wait, there's two. There's one, yeah.
Arachnimon. No, it's Ne, as in N-E.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So another person shows up, and we find out straight away that it's another Digimon, and it's Mummymon.
Like, he was dressed up as a dude, and then just never did it.
And in the original, he has, generic, like bad guy henchman voice. In the dub, I think they try to make them more like Jesse and James, and they try to force that.
I'm a mummy. Ooh.
Yeah, they try to have this like slightly flamboyant James from Pokemon.
You're all tied up.
Yeah, so they...
Let's not wake them.
I think they try to force Pokemon, like say that worked in Pokemon, let's make it in Digimon, even though it's not present in the original.
It's no easy Dusk.
I love Phantommon. Maybe it's by the same voice actor. I don't know. Then they escape. Miyako wants Daisuke to repay her for saving him. It's really cute. I really like Miyako. You find out the Mummymon and Arukenimon have a car.
And they go back to their human forms even after Arukenimon's like, I don't like I don't like being in this human form. That sucks.
Yes, now I'm in my true form. My human form is so uncomfortable and cramped. I'm like, but you clearly like your human form.
It just goes back into it.
In the original, Mummimon's slightly creepy because he says to Arukenimon that when they get back to their hideout, he will take care of her body.
I'll take care of that body.
It's just really... So what do you think of these two episodes as someone who's new to Digimon?
I said it before in the original recording, I'll say it again.
Because no one else will ever hear it.
This is another, like, Vamdemon moment of, like, what is going on with these bad guys. Because, as I mentioned before, that basically if you beat the kids, you win.
Uh-huh.
They beat their kids as Digimon and then just left. they could have just killed them.
Oh, definitely.
Because I know that Arukenimon was injured or whatever, but she just jumps out the window, and then Mummymon kills them all, and that's easy enough.
Yeah.
He devolved all their guys, so they're not going to be evolving anytime soon. You could have just done it. I don't really know. And so I guess if we find out what their plan was, fine. But I can't believe there was so much time restraint that he couldn't have just gone over there and stomped them a few times in one. So, as one episode, it's very good. As two episodes, the first one is a lot weaker, and the second one is great.
What do you rate them both?
Together?
Yeah, I think I think my original score has changed again. I think I'm giving them a 7 and an 8.
So it's, I guess, it averages out to like an 8.5 or something when they're together.
Yeah.
Otherwise it is, I think it's a 6, then a 9. I really, really, really like the second one because primarily all problems are solved by the kids and then the Digimon are backup. Whereas way, way, way too often the problems are solved by Digimon fighting and then they just use their moves at each other and then see who wins. They don't even do it in like a clever way most of the time. They just attack straight on. Whereas in this situation, they had the sound thing to solve that problem, and Miyako had a really cool plan with that. All the kids were like attacking the Digimon with like pepper and stuff,
and with their thoughts, not just with let's fire and make whoever can make the most like attack wins.
Also, keep in mind each pepper thing, right? Was an individual able to hold one?
What do you mean?
When they had like the things of pepper, were like one or two kids holding one
Shirimon
each?
and Miyako, I think.
Okay, so but they were about the size of the kids, I would say.
Yeah.
The kids are smaller than Gokimon.
Yeah.
So
they're always smaller than Gokimon.
So by scale, those salt and pepper shakers are smaller than a cockroach.
To be fair, they're not just cockroach size. They are big cockroaches.
No, but they're cockroach size in this house because they all came out of the sink.
Okay,
and we know what their
right.
size is.
So the sizing does not
imagine
work.
opening up a cupboard in your house and there's, I don't want to say imagine seeing a cockroach because that sucks.
I've seen cockroaches that big.
So your salt shaker's this big?
I have seen them that big, yes. The one at your grandparents are like short.
No, also cockroaches are like this. They're not that big.
Yeah, I've seen some pepper shake. Like you can get smaller ones.
Yeah, but they're
okay.
so...
The sizing isn't so accurate in this episode.
It's just that they need to make things decent in relation to the kids.
But it looks good if you don't think about it.
Yes, a lot of things are good if you don't think about them,
yeah.
And that's why I'm here.
What about how you thought about this episode in comparison to what you thought in Obnoxious Synopsis?
So I thought that as far as the Insect Master, I thought it'd be Arukenimon mostly, but that it would be like. That they would just be misunderstanding what an arachnid is, and that it's not an insect.
Yeah.
But it turns out that there was lots of insects.
Yeah, she's an insect master.
Yeah. So Arukenimon would be the focus, and kind of. They're a big deal, obviously, but I guess focus of the episode doesn't not like it gives a backstory or anything.
Yeah.
I said that Arukenimon will be part of a group of bad guys, and so you've got your James to this Jesse showing up, except that, I don't feel like that's the last of this group. I feel like they're both kind of henchmen to something bigger that's going on.
To a Digimon?
Yes, it's always a Digimon.
What type of Digimon?
An evil one.
What do they look like?
I don't know.
I don't know.
If I watched the opening, I'd probably know.
No, that's one of the only Digimon. Oh, I forgot to mention this. What?
You essentially just conceded it.
It's not mentioned in the this one's not mentioned.
You said it's one of the only Digimon that doesn't show up.
Oh, okay. Well, what else is it going to be?
I know, that's what I said.
So I forgot to mention this recording, but Mummymon was one of the characters that show up in the intro.
Also shows up in the X-Antibody movie as a good guy.
Yeah, but we just ignore that for a while, okay? So in the intro shows Mummymon and Arukenimon in their car.
Excellent.
And this intro started on the episode that Paildramon, we got to see Paildramon for the first time, so it spoils not only Paildramon, but a bunch of other stuff that we haven't seen yet.
Thanks, Japan. So, I said we could see her in real form in the next episode, which was true.
Yeah.
That if she's not Mecha, she'd be garbage. But she's not, right? She's
perfect.
Yeah.
But she's working in a team with another perfect. And
That's
also, they're only up to perfects now. They only have one perfect in their team, so
they established, by the way,
yeah.
in English anyway, that Majogress makes you ultimate level.
They are ultimate level, which is perfect. In the dub, perfect is ultimate.
I know, but they state specifically the power level of Jogress brings you to that.
This Jogress, yes.
Okay.
Not the Omnimon Jogress. That is
Then
yeah.
I said we'd see her transform, and we did. I said it would be Ken formally joining the group.
And it's a Ken focused episode, and not really actually.
No, it wasn't. But he did essentially joined the group.
If it had to be focused on anybody, it would be Miyako and Iori, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like we get... Oh, these 2 episodes, like Iori was a big focus, and they're sort of thinking about the other characters instead of just, let's make Daisuke, like, the cover of this episode.
And that said, Iori and Miyako should have had a Jogras as a result of that, and they didn't.
Well, we don't know.
As, like, the 2 dudes who were, like, coming up with plans and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good time for it. So, in the end, I think I mentioned it before, I'm going with 6 and 9, my favorite rating. And together, I guess they're an 8 or an 8.5. The first one kind of drags down the second because in our original recording, we discussed that you couldn't really push these into one episode. There's too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
But there's also not quite enough stuff for 2 episodes. There's about 30 minutes of good content in here, which means that the first episode ended up with 10 minutes of crap.
And it's also the evolving. You always know if it's a good episode by how much they split out the evolving. If it's like split screen, like it was in the Magnamon episode, you know that it's going to be a good one because they don't have the time to evolve 4 different times. They have to do it all at the same time.
Too much content.
And which brings me to my next question. That was the last sort of like, multi-parter. And we've had a few. We've had the Metal Greymon
Oh, there's
one.
none left?
No, I'm just saying the ones we've seen so far.
It's the most recent multi-parter, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think in comparison with the multi-parters that we've had?
So the Greymon one had a lot of bad stuff going on, including Daisuke's second Digi-Egg, so that one's not very good. The Peldramon one was fine.
What about the Magnamon one?
And the Magnamon one, I think Magnamon one was the second best one, probably.
I think Magnamon one was the best because it was... But only because it was so formal. Like, not formal, final.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it was the end of the season.
Yeah, but at the same
You
time...
could have stopped watching after that.
The situation was still kind of just solved by throwing Digimon at each other.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
fine.
yeah, and this one was like kids thinking.
Yeah, I liked this one because it was entertaining. It felt fresh.
Yeah.
Which this show needs.
Yeah, definitely.
God, this show could really go for like a 20-episode season.
So Cross Wars, yeah.
Cross Wars.
What about the Digimon that we met in this episode? So we met Kunemon.
It's a Weedle. It's a lightning Weedle.
What about Arukenimon?
I think Arukenimon's form is cool. It's a giant spider.
It's
what it should
scary,
look like.
but it works.
It's a Vamdemon crossed with one of those with the spider that was attacking
Kugamon.
them. Yeah.
What about Mummymon?
I think Mummon's very cool, except for his guns, and like because you don't need them. He's got like the crook and the whatever it is, the mummy stuff on his back. I don't know why he felt the design felt necessary that he needs a gun as well. Mm-hmm. It's totally unnecessary, and it's just one of those really, really Digimon things. And like, having watched the show, like the idea that evolution is just strapping metal onto stuff, it's not actually totally true, but it's true enough of the time that it really stands out.
I really like his coat. I feel like that's something that
The blue coat?
Yeah, I feel like that's something I could see at Dangerfield.
No, that's a military coat.
Yeah, that's what they... have you ever been to the boys section of a Dangerfield? They have that kind of stuff.
Yes, I haven't.
I think I've seen something that's like that.
Well, we should go today.
Oh, don't tell me. I have to edit, but also don't tell me that because I don't want to spend any more money, and I can't go to a Dangerfield without spending money unless we just go to like if you look and I close my eyes.
Okay, cool.
We can do that, I guess. I'll just close my eyes really, really tight. For those who don't know, Dangerfield is this amazing shop that we have, and it sells like
store.
Yeah. They sell like all these really cool, funky, like retro stuff, and like I wear lots of the dresses that I get from Dangerfield to work, and there's these really nice people, and like because I work in a building with other office suites, and from other offices, someone says, "Oh, I always just love the dresses you wear." And I was like, "Aw," but yeah, Dangerfield's really good. If you live in Australia, go to a Dangerfield and do what I do and spend lots of money and then cry.
Are we getting paid by Dangerfield for this advertisement?
Oh, I should just say, hey, I advertised you on my podcast today. Give me free things.
Alright, everyone, join us for the next episode of Bakugan, Ultimate Anti-Hero.
Or the Dark Ultimate Black War Greymon.
And Opposites Attract.
Or Storm of Love, Sylphimon. The show notes will be linked in the description. And thanks to our Patreon supporters, Stephen Patamon, who you can follow on at Stephen Patamon on Twitter, Wu Qinglong, who has a Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong, Metal Mimimon, Joe, Penguin Mage, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki, and then the number 1 on YouTube, Chuckmon, Sam Krieger, Ishpor Bamba, and Hiro Alato. Thanks, guys, for listening. We hope that our take 2 was as good as our take 1. I feel like we added some content and...
removed a lot of other content.
Yeah, I feel like we should have like had an alarm bell when we looked at the recording, and we've been recording for like an hour and 40 minutes, and
So we're between an hour and 45 and 2 hours.
Yeah, and the recording says an hour and 16, and we're like, wow, it didn't feel like it was only an hour and 16.
Yeah, we got up and you're like, this is a short episode. I'm like, it's been so long, but okay, sure.
I know, I thought that like maybe like we didn't observe the time, but yeah, so let's see what Audition's doing. We're not going to use Audacity ever again. See you guys next week.
Bye.